I just wanted to show a video of, I know I show a lot of my Monster alcohol stove and how cool it is and the different things it can do. Well, I wanted to show something else here. This is the same one that I sent to Hiram and he's used a couple times. I noticed after a few uses, well, to be exact, probably more like 30 uses, that the JB Weld started flaking off of the inner part of the stove and the outer part of the stove here. And I think the reason the JB Weld is flaking off is because the alcohol, the methanol alcohol, is actually eating away at the JB Weld or loosening it up, just like it would do to paint on a paint surface. It loosens it up and breaks it down. So eventually, when I went to screw in my larger size stove last night, I took it off of here, and you can see it's a mighty hard twist to twist it off. And I went to twist it in here like this. I was holding it by the base, and I twisted the cap right off of the top of my stove. It is just JB welded onto the pipe, so I've got to come up with something better to hold that on there, or not try and turn it from above and hold onto this piece every time I turn it. But eventually I think it still would break, and if I dropped it, it would break. So I'm really looking for some ideas from you guys how to attach the Monster Bull cap, onto the pipe fitting here, like this, without it popping back off. Now, I have an idea. When I do my HD stove, I'll reach in front of you guys here for a second, I'm sorry. I gotta find it. That's not the one I want to show you. That's another one, but that's also not the one I wanted to show you. This is probably a good example here. So, for example, I'm going to pull this off of here. When I do, and I'm going to, this is the one I put in that goes around the pipe, so it's not as easy. When I do this one here, let me see if you guys can see that. Instead of gluing the metal on top of the pipe, I actually drill a hole in the metal to go around the outside of the pipe, and then fit it down around the outside of the pipe, and let the pipe actually stick up a hair through it. And then I weld it with JB Weld along the top and bottom. And in this one I actually used an epoxy on the top, not a JB Weld. No, that's JB Weld, I'm sorry. I did use JB Weld there. It's kind of got a little bit of paper towel stuck to it because I dabbed it down with paper towel so it wasn't sticking up. But that is solid. I've never had one of these break. This is the second time my Monster can has snapped off of there. And I think that it has something to do with the fact that it just sits on top of it, and it doesn't go, the pipe doesn't actually go through it. So I think I'm going to rebuild this, a new one of these, and make the hole inside of here larger than the pipe so that it can actually stick down around the outside of it a little bit. And that way the surface is not flat here. It's actually down around the outside, and I have glue on top and bottom, or JB Weld. And that way there's JB Weld along the outside of it. The outside doesn't ever get any alcohol on it. It may drip over once here, there, once, twice. But for the most part, the alcohol is always on the inside. So by doing the JB Weld along the outside, I think I'm giving it a nice sturdy surface. I don't know if you guys can see down inside this stove. Let me bring it up as close as I can. Try not to blind you with the reflection. There's JB Weld down inside there, and if you look around the edge, right over on the edge there, you can see where it's starting to flake off a little bit. It's hard to see with the no light coming in, but it starts to flake off, and I think that's because the alcohol, when you squeeze the alcohol here, you shoot alcohol, in this case everywhere, and then that alcohol breaks down the JB Weld eventually. So I think that's why the alcohol on the inside of the stove causes it to break down. As long as there's JB Weld on the outside here, it doesn't ever seem to affect it yet. As far as this stove goes, I haven't had it affect it yet. But I don't know. And all my other stoves that I use that are in that same similar fashion where I have the metal piece go around the outside of the pipe. It really works well. It doesn't seem to affect it. So I do like this monster can stove. So I'm going to revisit it, try and make this hole a little bigger. I don't have a drill bit that large, so I've got to come up with another way to make it that large. I may be able to, and this is just lightweight aluminum, I may be able to get a grinder in there and just put it on there and grind it out. I'm not sure. So anyways, as I'm doing that, I'll keep you guys up to date on how it holds together and what goes on with that. And I'm going to make a bunch of these. So before I make them, I want to make sure I've got a model that's going to work good. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.